Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So zuerst lesen wir von. Today will be. Kann jemand übersetzen auf Deutsch, auf Englisch übersetzen? Mataji, ich weiß nicht, wer kann. Okay. Ja, okay. Weil ich habe so viele Notizen auf Englisch vorbereitet, das ist nicht möglich. Also jede Notiz übersetzen, das ist zu viel für mich. So we are reading continuation from Transcendental Diary, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada had a quiet day and received no visitors. He sat in the temple courtyard this afternoon for an hour under the tamal tree, and this evening sat in his back garden for a couple of hours, softly chanting on his beads as the fountain restfully flowed. Sometimes he uses this evening break to speak with his leaders on managerial matters, which continue to tax his brain. Despite his many instructions and complaints, the situation has not improved. He has been especially encouraging Hansadutta Maharaj to help improve things. However, he is not putting him officially in charge. He is not very convinced of his ability to manage nicely because all the complaints from Germany. He wants to see that Hamsadutta is able to do first, as he told him, first manage, then take charge. So I want to say a few things about this, what Prabhupada did say. This is Prabhupada sitting in Vrindavan temple. Machst du Übersetzung oder?
Braucht ihr Irina zum Übersetzen? Braucht ihr Irina?
Irina kann übersetzen, ja. Irina ist auch. Habt ihr ein Gerät? Yes, a professional Übersetzer. Jai. So, anyways, I will speak something for the audience at least. So there's three interesting points here. First of all, Prabhupada was sitting very leisurely at a quiet day, receiving no visitors, and he sat in the temple courtyard for an hour under the tamal tree. This is the famous tree in Vrindavan Dham. Danke dir, junger Mann. He was sitting very peacefully under the tamal tree in the courtyard. And this tree, actually, interestingly enough, when Prabhupada was building a temple, he wanted this tree to stay there. Because, Vrindavan, Prabhupada did not like to cut trees in anywhere, what to speak of Shri Vrindavan Dham. Because Shri Vrindavan Dham, every tree is a Kalpavriksha tree. Every tree is, is a Brijbasi, born in the land of Shri Vrindavan. So it's not an ordinary living entity to be born in Shri Vrindavan Dham. And some years ago, the tree actually died. And the reason the tree died because devotees overwatered the tree in the courtyard in Vrindavan. We have this tree now. This is the new tree. The old tree, devotees overwatered, and they have this marble basin, and they overwatered, and the tree just rotted and died. And then the devotees have to unearth the tree and put a new one. And I remember when they just put a small and he grew now, and now he's a huge tree again. So this is the Prabhupada's. This is the Prabhupada's tree, and he, in the last days of Srila Prabhupada, um, in the last days of Srila Prabhupada, he would sit there in a rocking chair in this under this tree. In the last day, he was like before he left the planet, just last few days before that, he was actually sitting under that tree. So this is a very extraordinary tree. The Prabhupada sat there. Um, because wherever the pure devotee is, wherever the pure devotee spends some time, this place becomes purified. There's in other place in Vrindavan, under one also tree, Vardhan tree, in a place called Vamshivat. There's a tree by where was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, Gopal Guru Goswami was sitting most of the time, and he was chanting there under this tree. And Gopal Guru Goswami is the very famous devotee of the Lord Chaitanya. When he was a very young boy, the Lord Chaitanya allowed him to suck his toe. So imagine, Lord Chaitanya allowed you to suck his toe. He was a very child, he was a baby. And then later on, when Gopal Guru was 5 years old, he would walk once, and then he saw Lord Chaitanya in the bathroom, as we call it nowadays. He was in the bathroom area. And Lord Chaitanya, because he was always chanting Hare Krishna mantra, he could not stop chanting. His mouth was always vibrating the mantra. So Lord Chaitanya was biting his lips as he was sitting in the bathroom. So the Gopal was 5 years old, and he said, what are you doing? Why are you not chanting? And Lord Chaitanya said, well, it's a bathroom area, it's impure. We should not chant. Because we know you don't bring a book, Bhagavatam, in the bathroom. You don't read Bhagavatam while you're sitting in the toilet. It's improper. It's a pure book. So he said, I cannot chant because it's an impure place. And the little Gopal, what is this? Oh, different. And little Gopal said, this is anybody listening actually what you're translating? She's not, is she? Yeah. And little Gopal said, this is nonsense. The holy name is so pure that it cannot be contaminated by the bathroom. So Lord Chaitanya said, wow, you are actually right, you are actually my guru. So from now on, I will call you Gopal Guru. His name was Gopal. So he stayed as a Gopal Guru Goswami. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left the planet, he was in Puri. Gopal Guru was with Lord Chaitanya in Puri. He was Gopal Guru was actually a disciple of Akreshwara Pandit. And when Lord Chaitanya left the planet, Gopal Guru became the leader of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So he was the very important figure. And his disciple, Dhyanachandra Goswami, wrote a very important book, which we'll not talk about today. But the point is that Gopal Guru, became old, and he spent some time in Vrindavan, he spent some time in Puri, and he spent some time. And whenever he was in Vrindavan, he would spend time under this tree. He would chant under this tree in Vamsivat near Yamuna. Vamsivat is the place where Krishna performed his rasa dance. And he would sit there and chant under this tree. So then he went to Puri, and he left the body in Puri. It's a long story. Also, how he died, this is a long story. But let's say he left the body, and devotees, brought him to the burial ground or whatever. Everything was done. So devotees all from Vrindavan, his disciples came from Vrindavan to this ceremony. As is a tradition, the disciples go to the last moments of their guru. And then when they came back, Vrindavan takes how long to walk? Probably a couple of months. I don't know. Anybody walk to Vrindavan from Vrindavan to now? Maybe Philip will do it one day. Extreme japa walk from Vrindavan to Puri. It's only like 1,300 kilometers. And so then devotees from Puri came back to Vrindavan, and under the tree they saw a guru. I said, Maharaj, excuse us, we just like buried you there. You just died, and what happened now? How are you here under this tree? And he was chanting under the tree. And Gopal Guru Goswami said, actually, this is my eternal place where I eternally do bhajan in this very place under this tree. And this is my sadhaka body. Each devotee has there's a siddha deha, original spiritual form. You know, when you become a gopi, you become a cow, or whatever you become in the spiritual world, a tree or servant of Krishna or Gopa or whatever. And then also you have your sadhaka body. Sadhaka body is the body that you serve Krishna, like Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami does not have this body in the spiritual world. This is just the sadhaka body where he's worshiping Krishna in this form, in this planet. So this is the original sadhaka body of Gopal Guru Swami, and I'm sitting here and chanting, "This is my eternal place." So nowadays, when if you go to this temple, Colorado Kanta Temple, this is a samadhi of Gopal Guru Swami under this very tree where he was sitting, because this is a very special place. Wherever there's a pure devotee sits, this is a very special place. So this is just a side story. The Prabhupada was actually sitting under this tree in Vrindavan. So this tree is very important, and this very place is a very important place, because Srila Prabhupada sat under this tree. So this is the one thing I want to say. Second thing is that Prabhupada here, sometimes Prabhupada wanted to speak to the leaders on managerial matters, which was becoming problem for him. Despite many instructions and complaints, the situation has not been improved. So the temple in Vrindavan had some managerial problems. Devotees sometimes fight, sometimes problems. The Western devotees had big problems because everybody gets sick at that time. Especially nowadays, you can, you go AC. There's AC rooms, and there's many ISKCON places, restaurants, ISKCON standards, cleanliness, and so on. But before, there was no really mosquitoes were biting you, and there was not really place to stay. Devotees, I'm sure, sleeping on even the ground and everything, and also the cheating. Devotees did not use to the expert management of Indian businessmen. They did not know how to do this, because I had something that costed 100 euros, and they charged us 800. And then you said this is too much, and he said no, and then fight, and then you put down on 650, and he said okay, I give it for 60, and you are happy, you lower down the price, but actually he charges you like so much more. So this was like a classic Indian management, Indian business with the Western devotees, and this and that, so many the other things, difficulties, and so Prabhupada did not know how to, how can I improve this? He put one manager and he couldn't make it, then he leaves, then another manager comes, another leaves. And so the point is even in Prabhupada's time, it's not like Prabhupada was walking on air, not touching the ground, and ISKCON temples are just springing open. We have this idea. Also, Chaitanya Charitamrita, one day, by the grace of Lord Chaitanya, I would like to write a book about this. In the times of Lord Chaitanya, it's not like Lord Chaitanya was walking and all his disciples are just Haribol and everything was. There was so much problems. Muslims were there, so many different Buddhists were there, the tantrics, the what's the name, the smarta brahmanas. They all giving problems. It was not so easy. Material world was not easy place. So in the Prabhupada's time also, material world was not easy place. Vrindavan Dham was not easy place. So Prabhupada was very practical, and that's why we have a very structured ISKCON as it is now, because Prabhupada is very practical. This is a genius of Prabhupada. Very practically managed the temples are there. We buy the buildings. This is so important to buy a building. We see it now. Those who have rented, how many times we've moved in temples? I don't know, Leipzig, for example, how many times have been moved? Berlin, how many times Berlin have been moved? You know, and Goloka Dam is still there because it's bought. You know, here it's still here because it's bought. The Buddhists bought it. So Prabhupada knew immediately. He bought the buildings. He was not, he was renting in the beginning, but immediately as soon as they had money, buy the building, buy it. So Prabhupada is very practical in that sense. So he used this practical ability in Krishna's service in a spiritual plane. So this is the second point I want to make. And the third point is he wanted to put Hamsaduta to manage the place, but he didn't want to put him in charge because he was not very convinced of his ability to manage nicely because he had the complaints from Germany. Complaints were very, I heard this, from Prithu Prabhu. He actually went to Vrindavan to complain to Prabhupada. He was requested by the German Yatra devotees as a representative to go to Vrindavan to complain about the Prabhupada. So this was, to complain about Hamsaduta. Hamsaduta Prabhu is now left the body since some years. He was a sannyasi, he was a GBC, he was one of the 12 original acharyas after Prabhupada, and he did lots of service. Later on, he left, for whatever reason, and he left the body. But the point is, in all of this, the Prabhupada actually used all these people to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. From now our perspective, we think, oh, this person has made this problem and that, but from completely point from the totally above, from Krishna's point of view, the movement is still going on. Movement is still going on. One devotee, I was in Ireland recently, and he asked me, what do I think about the 12 acharyas? Because there were some problems with 12 acharyas after the Prabhupada. I said they did extraordinary job. And he was surprised, unhappy about my answer. But I told him, look at this. We are still, the temples are still there. Mangal Arati is still same melody. The deities are worshipped, maybe not the highest standards, but the deities are very nicely worshipped. The temples are still there. Maybe we lost few temples, maybe, but not many. Of all the Prabhupada temples, I don't think we lost many. I know of two, basically. But maybe more, I don't know. But mostly, devotees preserved the ISKCON, preserved the standards, preserved the Sampradaya. They gave initiation. So many young devotees. We're all sitting here. We are not Prabhupada disciples. So this is all the glories of those Prabhupada disciples who actually somehow maintain the place, maintain the temple, maintain the movement, maintain the standards. Our standards are not deteriorating. I've not seen any temple the standards someone's offering chicken to the Lord, No. There's still, purity, prasadam. We all take shower before we go to the altar, before we come to Mangalartik. Some little standards have slackened, yes, I agree, but in general, the movement is doing great. Initiations are happening every year, everywhere, all the time. Maybe, I don't know, when was the last initiation come? Long time, huh? So 3 years. So we have to we have some new bhaktas to get some initiations. So, but initiations are happening everywhere. Prasadam is going, book distribution is still going. So movement is doing great, and this is all by the mercy and the shakti of Srila Prabhupada. We just have to somehow click in. So this is the last part I wanted to say about this. Anybody wants to ask something? Just I want to one note. When the speaker asks any question, if you want to give a comment in the Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, I cannot exactly recollect the verse, but in the purport it is described when Sutta Goswami was giving lecture, and in the purport and the Shaunaka Rishi stood up and he said sadhu sadhu, meaning congratulations on a nice lecture, and he asked him something. So the point is that Prabhupada said in the purport, this is the proper standard, or this is the proper attitude or proper etiquette, who can say, thank you for a nice class? Because nowadays we have this is a tradition become lately, last couple of years in ISKCON. Before it was not like this. Just become like, I think they even teach in BHE this, that, that you should, when somebody gives lecture, before you ask lecture, you said, thank you for the nice lecture. But actually, according to Srimad Bhagavad, this is inappropriate. The young devotee cannot thank, is not a, it said, the Prabhupada says, the one who is most senior and most learned, this person can say thank you, not the others. This is the Prabhupada says. Second of all, the comments, if you're a young devotee, you cannot offer comment to a senior devotee who is giving a lecture. This is very inappropriate. I said this many times, but after, because everybody's giving comments nowadays, because they used to Facebook, it's Instagram, and they say, I have a comment. Okay, you have a comment. So it looks actually ridiculous in my eyes. There's some young devotee, uninitiated devotee, or I gave once lecture in one temple, and then one lady who comes once a month to the temple, I lecture, I prepared and I gave and she had a comment to add something. But I didn't want to say anything. Sometimes I say, but so now I'm saying, Hare Krishna, that it's inappropriate, actually, very inappropriate. Especially if somebody asks a question, for example, Philip asking me a question, and I answer the question, and then another young devotee said, oh, I have something to add to your answer. This is really inappropriate. That means that your answer is stupid, I know better. So this is very difficult for me to tolerate, because it's not Vaishnava etiquette. It's not Vaishnava etiquette. Maybe it's a Facebook etiquette, but not Vaishnava etiquette. In Vaishnava etiquette, we are listening. Listening is very important. Shruti, we have it today. We'll speak about this. Shruti. What is that? Our whole shastra, whole knowledge actually comes from hearing. If you're not hearing, if you just want to speak, somebody speaks something, you cannot wait that he finishes the lecture, that he can, I have this comment. This is not how do you say, appropriate. Just that's all I want to say. So that's it. I made a comment to my own comment. So let's read Chaitanya Caritamrita. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So Philip, if you can do this now. I will just read the verse because we have a lot to talk about. So it's right there at the door when you enter, on the right, on the ground. Yeah, you can turn it off. Yes, please. So, Tabe Bhattacharya Kahe Yaha Goshani Rashtane Amara Name Gana Sahita Karani Matrane. After hearing this from Gopinath Acharya, Sarvabhuma Bhattacharya said, first go to the place where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is staying and invite him here with his associates. Ask him on my account. So Sarvabhuma wanted to bring Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home. Prasadani tanre karaha gebiksha paschatashi amare karaiha shiksha. Take Jagannath Prasad and first give it to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. After that, come back here and teach me well. 112. Acharya Bhagini Pati Shalaka Bhattacharya Ninda Shrutis Hasya Shiksha Karana Acharya. Gopinath Acharya was the brother-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Therefore, their relationship was very sweet and intimate. Under the circumstances, Gopinath Acharya taught him by sometimes blaspheming him, sometimes praising him, and sometimes laughing at him. That has been going on for some time. Acharyera Siddhante Mukundera Haila Santosha Bhattacharyera Vakyamane Haila Dukharosha. Srila Mukunda Datta felt very satisfied to hear the conclusive statement of Gopinath Acharya, but he became very unhappy and angry to hear the statements put forward by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a great scholar in Vedanta, in this impersonal way of interpreting Vedanta philosophy. So Gopinath Mukunda Datta did not like it. Gosanira Stane Acharya Kaila Agamana Bhattacharyera Nametanre Kaila Nimatrana. According to the instructions of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Gopinath Acharya went to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and invited him on Bhattacharya's behalf. Mukunda Sahita Kahe Bhattacharyera Kata Bhattacharyera Nidakare Mane Panavyata. The Bhattacharya statements were discussed before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gopinath Acharya and Mukunda Datta disapproved of the Bhattacharya statements because they caused mental pain. So just bear 2 more verses. Hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Do not speak like that. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has shown great affection and mercy towards me. Out of paternal affection for me, he wants to protect me and see that I follow the regulatory principles of the sannyasi. What fault is there in this?" The next morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya together visited the temple of Lord Jagannath. Both of them were in a very pleasant mood. When they entered the temple, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya offered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a seat, while he himself sat down on the floor out of due respect for a sannyasi. See, this is the etiquette. Lord Chaitanya was 24 years old, and Sarvabhauma was, I don't know, over 60 or something like this. And he offered Lord Chaitanya a seat, because this is the etiquette. So we have to respect the Vaishnava etiquette. You know, the seniority, not only seniority by age, but also seniority apparently by in a institutional, Varnashram Dharma institution. You have to respect sannyasi as the highest, you can say, highest step in spiritual realization, no matter how young or how old that sannyasi is. It's a title that we have to respect. So that's that. Then, this is the verse I want to read, 120. So next time is 121. Vedanta padai tetabe aramba karila sneha bhakti kari kichu prabhu kahila. He then began to instruct Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on Vedanta philosophy. And out of affection and devotion, he spoke to the Lord as follows. Translation and purport. The Vedanta of Brahma Sutra, written by Sri Vyasadeva, is a book studied by all advanced spiritual students, especially by the sannyasis of all religious communities, sampradayas. The sannyasis must read Vedanta Sutra to establish their final conclusions concerning Vedic knowledge. Here, of course, the Vedanta mentioned is the commentary of Shankaracharya, known as Shariraka Bhashya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya intended to convert Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a Vaishnava sannyasi, into a Mayavadi sannyasi. He therefore made this arrangement to instruct him in Vedanta Sutra according to Shariraka commentary of Shankara Acharya. All the sannyasis of the Shankara Sampradaya enjoy seriously studying the Vedanta Sutra with Shariraka Bhashya commentary. It is said, Vedanta Vakyeshu Sadharamanta. One should always enjoy the studies of Vedanta Sutra. So when I was reading this verse, I was first thinking, Vedanta Sutra. So what is then Veda? What is Vedanta? What is the difference between Veda and Vedanta Sutra? Yeah, essence. Vedanta Sutra is essence. But what are the Vedas? That was the question. What is the Vedas? So then I looked up. There's a different explanations, particularly in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is described how actually, what are the Vedas? Because we always speak the Vedas are Apaurushaya. Apaurushaya means didn't come from any human being. Apaurushaya, Purushaya, coming from human being. But Vedas are not coming from any human being. Vedas are actually not written by any human being. So how did the Vedas come to this earth? We said yesterday, when Krishna creates, Brahma creates this material world, the Vedas come as a Einleitung, instructions how to live in this world and how to leave this material world. So, but there's a little more detailed explanation. And the detailed explanation is in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, that the first, the subtle vibration of transcendental sound appeared in the sky of the heart of the most elevated Brahma. So the spiritual world, as all what we have here, this is the perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So there's a sound, there's a smell, all the five senses. Sight, so there's a space, sight, smell, what else we have? Touch, taste. Everything else here, the sound. Everything else is in the spiritual world. So all these things actually exist eternally in the original pure spiritual form. What we have here is a perverted reflection. I always like to when people are working with this on the street, I say, oh, this is the perverted reflection of the Hare Krishna mantra. Because it's a perverted reflection. This material world is like a reflection. Prabhupada gives an example of a tree in the water. It just looks the same, but the substance is not the same. So the original sound of the spiritual world, the spiritual sound, came and manifested in the heart of Lord Brahma. When Lord Brahma first appeared, we know, from the navel of Lord Vishnu came the lotus flower, and Brahma suddenly found himself on that navel, on that lotus flower, whirl of a lotus flower. And he was wondering, what am I doing? What is this? What am I doing here? Just like any baby is born and no idea what's going on here. There's some lights and some people with a mask and touching me. What's going on? So this is what Brahma did. And Brahma, in his heart, it says that there appeared this tapa, destruction. So the first sound from the spiritual world came and manifested in the heart of Lord Brahma. This is like a beginning of all the spiritual sounds. Then, it is said that this Brahma was actually perfectly fixed in spiritual realization when this sound appeared into his heart. And that's an interesting enough, Srimad Bhagavatam. One can perceive this subtle vibration when one stops all external hearing. So that's why the yogis, they try to shut all the material senses that they can hear the spiritual vibration. In the Krishna consciousness movement, we don't do this. We try to replace. Like you have I heard this example many times ago. If you have milk, and if you have one drop of ink, it's black, but you add more milk, and the end it becomes just milk. It becomes nullified. So in the same way, we inundate our senses with Krishna consciousness, with hearing, chanting, smelling incense, smelling prasadam, tasting prasadam, seeing the deity's form, touching, as is described, the devotees in kirtan, sometimes bumping each other, hugging. This is popular to hug devotees. How are you? This is another thing I had to actually say. Young devotee cannot come and hug older devotees. It's also inappropriate. You come, oh, how's it going, Prabhu? No obeisances, but hugging. It's nice, it's a sign of affection, but this is not Vaishnava etiquette. Vaishnava etiquette, when you see a senior devotee, after some time, please accept my humble obeisances, bow down, head to the ground. Hare Krishna, my name is such and such, Bhakta Jonathan. And you say, oh, Hare Krishna, where are you from? Like this. This is the appropriate Vaishnava etiquette. You don't come and you hug people. Maybe I don't want to be hugged by you. Anyways, come back to this. Touch. This is this is a scent of touch. You're touching devotees. Then, by worshipping this subtle form of the Vedas, the Srimad Bhagavatam describes this is actually the subtle form of the Vedas, this transcendental sound itself. This is actually the Vedas, the beginning, the core of the Vedas. It is the subtle form of a spiritual sound. And the sages who can actually perceive this is how they start worshipping the Vedas. Confirm the sound in the pujari room. So meaning that, we are very much attached to hear the words. In Kali Yuga, everything has to be mechanical, machine. But actually, this is the spiritual science is very subtle, very, very subtle. It's actually hearing the subtle vibration in the heart, spiritual vibration. This is actually Vedas. So, and all this contamination of all the purity becomes eradicated. You're free from impurities, free from birth and death, just by hearing this subtle vibration. This is what Srimad Bhagavatam says. And then from this transcendental sound comes Omkara. When we preach in the Rainbow Gathering, that they gathered, everybody. Have you been to Rainbow Gathering? Shikeshi, have been to Rainbow Gathering? Here. Do they do Om? They get it all together, they hold their hands. We had the ones, they hold their hands, I don't know, 5 kilometers, huge. There's a big, in the mountains, everybody hold their hands, and then suddenly, this is very powerful. 15,000, 20,000 people are oming in the same time. I mean, this is really, we all holding hands. Of course, I'm thinking about Lord Caitanya, I'm not thinking about impersonal Om. Also, when we cooked, we cooked for like several thousand people, maybe 3, 4, 5,000 people. Kitri and Halava, this was our main. These big boats, which is like a walk, you're like. And then we cooked this, and then we just offer it to Krishna, And then we call all the hippies. They come and they all gather around the food. A few thousand people. We all mean so the purified, the good vibration. The food has a good vibration. This is their concept of offering. So we all just, I said, anyways, Krishna has tasted it, but at least, there's. But the Om is actually manifestation of this subtle vibration of the spiritual world. This mantra, Om. Om. So the entire expanse of Vedic sound is coming from this Omkara. So basically, Omkara is the representation of this sound. So Omkara is A, U, and M. These 3 words. Om. I mean, this Om represents 3 aspects of material existence, 3 modes of the material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. 3 Vedas: Rig, Yaja, Yajur, and Samaveda. 3 planetary system: Bur, Bhuva, Sva. And 3 functional platforms called waking consciousness, sleep, and deep sleep. So these are all represented in this Omkara. Om. So then from this Omkara, Lord Brahma, he created the sounds of alphabets. Like we have whatever, A, B, C, D. The vowel, the consonants, all these different aspects of the language actually come from Omkara. The original language come from Omkara. Brahma just manufactured this later on. And then from Brahmas, he used these sounds from his four faces, Brahma has the four faces. He produced the four Vedas. Rik, Yaja, Rik. There's the four Vedas here. Oh, I didn't write it down. Rik, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva Vedas. The four Vedas came from the four faces of Lord Brahma. There's some other little more complicated things which I don't want to repeat. I don't understand myself. There's some chanting certain 17, 7 Vyakriti invocations. But these invocations, each performer of the Vedas, each priest of the Vedas invokes something. This is more complicated, but this is Lord Brahma created all this from Omkara, from his heart, from this sound. So then Brahma taught these Vedas to his sons, and so on and so forth. So what happened in this way? The cycle of 4 ages, the different devotees who were actually preaching these Vedas or propagating these Vedas, and they were firmly fixed in their spiritual vows. And at the end of Dvapar Yuga, this Veda, there's originally one Veda, as you see. At the end of Dvapar Yuga, the beginning of Kali Yuga, this Veda is divided into 4. And we know why, because in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva actually is particularly empowered. Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma came to Vishnu and they said, Kali Yuga is approaching, please send somebody to divide the Vedas because people cannot understand. And one of the reasons why people cannot understand is because everything is mixed together. This is I like in one sense because I'm coming from such a background that I never liked the systematic study of anything. Maybe in India now there's this mechanical engineering, everything's sort of systematic. I don't like this so much personally. So for me, when I hear this, I was like, wow, nice, because Vedas, everything was everywhere. The stories, everything was so mixed. People could not figure out what is really what. So Vyasadeva, he separated this mantra. He said he separated the mantras because the Vedas were just sound. There was no written anything. Because the people were so intelligent that they could actually remember everything. They had the purity of and also power of intelligence, cognizance. Now and then Kali Yuga is approaching. We cannot even remember. I hardly remember what we ate breakfast yesterday. I remember banana. I don't know. It wasn't bananas. I don't remember exactly. Anybody remembers what we ate yesterday? Breakfast. You remember, Philip?
Yes, because when mother cooked.
Ah, yes, very mother cooked. Okay, you see, I couldn't remember this. So our memory is weak. And so therefore, and it's also very complicated to find out what is what. So Vyasadeva divided all this, and he divided into Rik, Atharva, Yajur, and Samaveda, 4 Vedas. And these 4 Vedas he entrusted to one disciple, each disciple. He said, you take charge of Yajur Veda, you take charge of this Veda, and there's each devotee. He divided more things into more details and is entrusted to their disciples to be expert. This is the beginning of, I call this nowadays, when you study something, you study one particular point. That's it. You become a specialism. You become a specialist in this particular. So they became specialists in Atharva Veda, but only like a first chapter. This is your specialty. And so on and so forth. So these are the Veda, original Veda. So we have the 4 main Vedas. So from these Vedas, since we are a little bit out of time, anyways, just one blessing. Whenever we read Srimad Bhagavatam, there's some blessings behind it. It said, whoever hears the distribution of Vedic hymns will be freed from all sins. So it's not just some knowledge. It's actually also spiritually we get purified from our sins by listening the division of the Vedas. Not bad. So now let's see. What is the Vedas nowadays, what we have in time they're divided and they're written about so many different things, and you can say they're cleared up from all these mixtures. Now we have a clearer at least sections of what is of total Vedic knowledge. So we have something which is called Shruti, which is spoken, and these two Vedas and Upavedas. This is the Shrutis. This is the spoken, as we say here, this is the sound vibration which was spoken. And on the right, we have this Itihasa, Vedanga, Puranas, Agamas, and Darshanas. These are the Smritis. These are things which are to be remembered. Meaning, these are things which are written. Remembrance means putting down paper. So these are the first two on the left is the Shrutis, and the other ones are the Smritis. This is just a gross division. I'm sure there are much more details, but this is at least that we have an idea what are the Vedas are. So first we have from the Vedas, we have parts of the Vedas, which are Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads. All these were parts of the Vedas inside, So I will tell you a little bit what are these Samhitas, for example. We have a Brahma Samhita. What is a Samhita? The Samhita means something which is put some together, hita, something which is put together, which is basically taken from the Vedas and put together. And these are the Samhitas are consisted of mantras, hymns, prayers, and benedictions, or glorifications and benedictions. So Brahma Samhita is a glorification of Krishna. It's a glorification. These are the hymns of prayers. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who's tending the cows. This is the glorification. So Samhitas means glorification. Or from all, the prayers, the hymns, all, there's some examples there from the Vedas and so on and so forth. So this is all, again, it's extracted from the Vedas as a prayer. Then we have Brahmanas. Brahmanas is an explanation of sacred knowledge to use in the sacrifices, because we know the Vedic practice in the Treta Yuga was offering elaborate sacrifices. You read in Srimad Bhagavatam, Prithu Maharaj offering horse sacrifices, even Ashwamedha Yagya, even Yudhishthira was offering Ashwamedha Yagya, which is needed so much gold, which is needed so much ghee, and so forth and so on. So explanation of how to do these Vedic sacrifices. And we know this is not, I read some before, it's each corner in the arena has to be so long and so many details, and each corner has to be one priest, and has to be one referee priest who's listening. If the priests are reciting proper mantras, if priests are reciting not proper mantras, then it will come some other result instead of this. And we see this Vrita Sura, they somehow messed up a little bit, one word, and because of this one word came out, instead of killing Indra, he got killed, and so on and so forth. So it's like, these are the Brahmanas. Then we have Aranyakas. Aranyakas are the meaning, they describe the meaning of the ritual sacrifices. What is the ritual sacrifice? What is going on? Everything there. And then for us, what is important, because this is again, past, Upanishads. Upanishads actual philosophy of the Vedas. Because we have these sacrifices, we have the hymns and praises and rituals and all these things, but what we have an essence of this is Upanishad. Upanishad is actual philosophy, and Upanishad means Upa means sitting, and Nishad means Upa means the teacher. Upa means somebody who is I'm sitting under. Nishad means sitting. So I'm sitting under the feet of my teacher. This is the Upanishad. Vijayaguranga Dalita ki jai. Meaning, this is how we receive transcendental knowledge. We sit next to the feet of the Guru, and Upanishads means I'm receiving transcendental knowledge, the philosophy of the Vedas. Your leg is exposed. Not to me, the deities and the ladies. So this is the meaning. This is what Upanishads are, and we have 108 main Upanishads, and one Upanishad that Prabhupada translate is Isha Upanishad. Prabhupada quoted many times Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. What else? Shvetashvara Upanishad, some various Upanishads. Prabhupada quoted verses from these Upanishads. So these important Upanishads, it is said that, actually, I've heard this, that one cannot be an Acharya unless one is given commentary to one Upanishad. Because I was always wondering why Prabhupada gave commentary to Isha Upanishad. Because first of all, Isha is dealing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And second of all, Acharyas to give commentary on Upanishad, so Prabhupada gave to Isha Upanishad. We are happy about this. So this is what parts of the Vedas came out after: Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads. Then we have this Upaveda. Upavedas, let's put Vedangas first. This Vedanga under this Shiksha, Vyakarana. These are the Vedangas are basically connected to the study of the Vedas. Everything is, like a grammar. Vyakarana is a grammar. Shiksha is teaching the pronunciation, how to actually alphabet, how to melody of the pronunciation of Sanskrit. This is like a basic grammar. This is like a teaching tools. Shiksha, Vyakarana, Nirukta is, anybody knows? Varta book. Prabhupada quote many times in the Vedic dictionary, Nirukta. I was always, what is Nirukta? But this is actually part of the Vedas. This is a dictionary, describes how the root of each word. Like there's a root, there's a meaning to each word. I think it's a fascinating. If you're interested into linguistics, probably fascinating to learn this. I don't have time for this, now, or brain. So it's a linguistic analysis to help to establish the proper meaning of the words and the context that you use it. So that's why Sanskrit is like a great language. There's a meaning, every word has a meaning and the context of using it. So it's like, it takes many years to actually master Sanskrit, over 10 years or something like this. I'm not an expert again. And then we have this so-called kalpa. Kalpa is describing the Vedic instructions to the rituals associated with life of major events. Like you have a first grain ceremony, how to celebrate first grain ceremony, how to do wedding properly. Vedas gives so many nice examples of how to live in this world, actually. How to do the proper wedding, birth, death. Everything is described there. Personal conduct. So I'm sure Manusmriti comes into this, describing how to actually live in this material world, how to die, how to get born. It is described. I read one called Charaka Samhita. Charaka Samhita. Anybody Ayurvedic here? No. Charaka Samhita is like a Ayurvedic Bhagavad Gita, something like this. Most important book for the Ayurveda. It's pretty large, but I read reduced version of 560 pages, 600 pages or something. And it's described that actually before getting birth is like not just like people go to their room and and then next day after 3 months it's, oh, I'm pregnant. They don't do this. It's actually, you get to it's a ceremony. You get the blessing of the guru, you get the blessing of the whole village. And then everybody knows tonight you will conceive a child. Because I actually just saw recently, I was reading one article, philosophy article, describing our privacy. Because we are very much, Veni Madhava, we were missing you. This is the topic you are very interested in. Now it's a little bit late. So describing the privacy, what is actually privacy, and is it needed? As much as me in the West, we think that we need the privacy. The government is controlling me, and I want to, you know. But in Vedic, if you see it in the Vedic society, there's not much privacy actually. The privacy is not valued much because everything is an open. You know, oh, they're having child tonight. Everybody's blessing the festival, and when the child is born, we see also in the birth of Lord Krishna. When Krishna was born, everybody came, brought the whole village. It's as if the village got a child, not the parent. You know, the whole village came. Oh, yeah, sure, I got a child. He's our child. So this is the Vedic culture, a little bit different sense of privacy, you know? Because I don't think privacy is much valued. What is the privacy for? What that you can sit there and do some weird things on the internet? What is the privacy for? You know, that's why to learn this, being in brahmacharya ashram is very good because there's no privacy. I think at least 15 years of the brahmacharya life, I did not have my room. I always slept with the brahmacharis in the room, one room. Even as a temple president, I slept with 15 brahmacharis, 20 in one room. And then one wake up, everybody has to wake up, and everybody sees what everybody's doing. There's no privacy. But everybody was doing something for Krishna. Anyways, this is the kalpas. And then we have a Jyotish. Jyotish, we know Jyotish is in astrology, science of astrology. This is also part of Anga of Vedas, part of the Vedas, Veda Anga. And in the same as any of these Vedangas and any of the Vedas, there's a guru present. So there's also in Jyotish, you cannot just become an astrologer, just like, okay, I have this software, and let's see when were you born, and then you kind of can guess a little bit. You have to have a guru. You actually have a guru, the Jyotish guru. From the guru comes also the mercy to understand and revelation. And we know the best astrologers, at least in India, they have a guru. I met one astrologer. He was in Serbia. He left his body. He was my age. He left the body a couple of years ago. He was the best. I think he was the best astrologer ever. But he had a guru in India. He actually had an actual guru. And I think he was, from his past lives, he was already such a good astrologer. But he astrology, and I'm not again expert astrologer, but astrology is not just looking at software. He's also looking at the omens. There's an article by Sundar Prabhu, famous. He was the original ISKCON astrologer. He, the Prabhupada disciple who started astrology in ISKCON, basically first. He said that the original astrology is a sign of omens. Omens means you see things and you interpret. Like, for example, when Akrura was coming to Vrindavan, he saw on the right side the deer crossing the path. And he saw, this is auspicious. Deer crossing the path is auspicious. So every time me and Nitya, we travel in the train, we see deer. Nitya is auspicious. We see deer on the right side of the window. So omens, and also in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when the Kali Yuga was approaching, they saw this jackal vomiting fire and all kinds of strange things, the thunders and droughts. And so omens also, actually, omens were original astrology. So that later developed into now we have this house and that house and so on and so forth. I also know one devotee who went to one astrologer in Radhakund, and this devotee, this astrologer, was looking at the Gopal deity. He is a deity of Gopal. And he's asking, and this devotee came, and he's looking at Gopal deity. What is deity going to tell him about this person? He just told him everything, astrologically correct, but looking at the deity of Gopal. So there are different ways to do astrology, I guess. So, but the point is that you have to have a guru. You have to have a guru. So, okay, we can listen, but of course, our life more or less in this software is there also. But the real details and the proper understanding, we have to have a proper guru and to learn properly. So this is we went to this Upavedas, Ayurveda, Artha. These are the Vedangas, Jyotish. Then we had Upavedas. Upavedas means like a younger brother of the Vedas. Like we have a Rupa Nuga, the follower of the Vedas. We are the Rupa Nugas. We are followers of Rupa Goswami. Prabhupada Nugas, meaning we are the younger who are following the older. So Upavedas are followers of the Vedas. These are the arts. We have Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the science of health, medicine. As I said, we have this Charaka Samhita, is the main text, and there's so many others, I guess. I'm not expert. But these are the Ayurveda, the science of health, how to be healthy according to the Vedas. Then we have Artha Shastra. Artha Shastra is um, finance, politics, politics, military strategy, how to actually conduct a war. We have this description in Mahabharata when the two armies gathered. One was formed like a fish, and the other one, I don't know, anybody knows what other forms? They're formed in different forms, and they attacked in this particular form as a fish, because this is the science in Artha Shastra, how to actually form the groups and attack. And there's the politics, how to conduct the politics, how to actually, for example, when Prahlad Maharaj was taught by Sandana Marka how to the science of politics, how to defeat the enemy, how to create politics, and so on and so forth. So these are all Artha Shastra, how to make money. Then what we have? Ayurveda we did, Artha Shastra. Then we have a Dhanurveda. Dhanurveda is, anybody knows? Dhanurdar? I know. Military science. Dhanur means bow and arrows. Yes. So this is the science of how to actually shoot bow and arrows, because we know bow and arrows in our Kali Yuga, we have a little bow, and you have an Olympic. I think in Olympics they have a bow and arrow, and then you just shoot, or they run 10 kilometers and they shoot there, something like this, and they shoot this. They have all these precise instruments. And have you seen, there was recently Olympics, and they're shooting the gun in the target, and there was this, every gun is like super, special, so you can. And there was a guy from Turkey. He didn't have anything, nothing, and he was just like holding. Like everybody was like, "What are you doing?" Everybody has a super special mechanism how to be precise properly, and he won the silver medal or something like this, just with nothing. Turkic Kshatriya. So this is the science of Dhanurveda. How to actually shoot the arrows, because we know arrows are not only arrows. Arrows also, that can be different kinds of arrows. There's a rain, there's a illusion, there's a brahmastra from arrow. All kinds of things can come from arrow. And again, you need a guru. And Arjuna and the Pandavas, they actually learned this from Dronacharya. Dronacharya was teaching this. Again, all this Vedic knowledge we have to have a guru to actually pass knowledge from the guru to the disciple. So we are done with the shiksha, we're done with the smritis, shrutis, these are all which is heard. Shrutis, Upavedas, Vedanga, and 4 Vedas, Samhitas, Brahmanas, Saranyakas, Upanishads. Then we are going on the right side, this 1, 2, 3, 4, Itihasas, Puranas, Agama, and Darshan. This is a little more closer to us. Because Itihasas are actually Ramayana, Mahabharata. This is the famous. This is also part of the Vedas. It says sometimes that Mahabharata is called 5th Veda. This is the 5th Veda, Mahabharata, Ramayana. Why? Because it's also described, the knowledge of the Vedas is just in a different way. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva actually described how people cannot understand. Kali Yuga is approaching, so therefore he wrote Mahabharata, that he can actually, people can understand. It is considered that this Mahabharata, and in some areas, Mahabharata and Ramayana comes to the Karma Kanda section of Vedas. You have a Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, and Jnana Kanda. Jnana Kanda is the Upanishads. You develop knowledge. Upasana Kanda, how to worship, and Karma Kanda, how to actually perform, how to live properly in this world. So Karma Kanda, Mahabharata. There's so many different descriptions of proper conduct with Bhishma and Arjuna, and how to actually follow uphold the word. Bhishma follow his word, promise, and so Yudhishthira never committed a lie. So this is all teaching us how to actually do proper, how to do karma. Karma means action, how to behave in this material world. Karma Kanda, section of the Vedas, Mahabharata, and Ramayana also, Lord Rama, how he behaved, and so on and so forth. So these are the itihasas. Then we have this. Oh, I didn't mention there. I think well, another one, Stapatya Veda. This is within the Vedas, Upavedas. This is also interesting on the left. Stapatya Veda means Stapati. Anybody knows Stapa? Huh? Yeah, one. Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Manavishtam, Stapitam Yena Bhutale. Stapita means establishing. Meaning also in a broader term, the science of building things, the science of architecture. So how the temple is supposed to be built. Because it is described in the Vedas that wherever we live, the space influences our brain, interestingly enough. So if you're therefore they build this so-called vastu, buildings to be free flow of energy, so that our brain is not cluttered. Because sometimes, in China they call it feng shui, whatever. So they put the fish at the entrance because fish somehow brings the peace of the mind at the entrance, whatever. Or they paint this color rosa because this brings money, whatever reason. So something like this, because everything has an influence. And I actually I was in South India once, and I stayed with one man, a boy, you can say, in his house. He was sitting alone. And his house was built traditional South Indian Kerala Vastu style. You have no idea how pleasant it was to live there. I never experienced any, it's somehow everything is, and the doors are very low. So basically, it's up to here to me. So I have to always bend. And I asked him why. He said the reason why they build it low, because it always makes you actually humble. You always have to bow down and to understand what is your purpose of life. Wow. And everything is like a square like this, and this room is there, this entrance is the entrance. So when you sit in this room in the house, I felt like so comfortable, wow, this is actually very pleasant to be, like really free flow of energy. And of course, no furniture, they sleep on the floor, everything is eating on the floor. So in the morning they just clean everything up and everything is clean, like a really, I was thinking this is actually Vedic culture. This is actually a wonderful thing. Wonderful thing. Anyway, so this is Stapatya Veda. So we come back to our Puranas. We did Itihasas. Puranas we do later at the end, of course. Agamas. What is Agamas? Right here, Agamas. Agam means tradition and refers to perception doctrine that came out as a tradition. Different traditions, Vaishnava, Shiva, and Shakti traditions. And we have a different, sometimes it's called Tantra. And sometimes it is said that these agamas are made to counteract the Vedic knowledge, something like this, But sometimes they said this is like to enhance. So basically, detailed way how to live as a Shaiva, how to live as a Shakti, how to live as a Vaishnava. So these are the agamas, also part of the Vedas. And then darshan, we know there's a Shat darshan, famous 6 darshans. 6 darshans are the 6 philosophies. There are much more, of course, but these are the 6 main philosophies in India. You can say 6 main philosophical schools. One is Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Yoga of Patanjali, Sankhya, Purva, Vedanta. So these are we belong to, we are Vedantists, basically. The only problem is when people say Vedanta is that they refer to Shankaracharya's Vedanta. This is where we're coming now to Sarabhum Bhattacharya wanted to instruct him in Vedanta Sutra, which means Shankaracharya's translation or purported to Vedanta Sutra. And on the end, What we have a time limit very much. We have Puranas. So we have the Puranas are actually Purana means old in Hindi also. Anybody Hindi? Hindi also old. Who speaks Hindi? Hindi is old, and Sanskrit also old. Something meaning old histories, old stories, Puranas. There's 18 Mahapuranas, main Puranas, 18 Upapuranas, the followers, and 180 other Puranas. So we have, for example, which we are not authorizing. This is called Devi Bhagavatam. This, you can see it in India everywhere, but we don't read it. We read our own Puranas, particularly the 18 major Puranas: Brahma Purana, Padma Purana, Shiva Purana, Vishnu, Linga, Garuda, Narada, Bhagavat, Agni, Skanda, Bhavishya, Brahma Vaivarta, Markandeya, Vamana, Varaha, Matsya, Kurma, and Brahmanda. And Prabhupada, you can recognize these Prabhupada quotes many times from these Puranas. From Varaha Purana, Matsya Purana, Kurma Purana, I remember many times. Brahmananda Purana, Shiva Purana, Vishnu Purana. And it says that these Puranas, main Puranas, are divided into the three modes of material nature. Shiva Purana is the mode of ignorance, Brahma Purana probably mode of passion, and Vishnu Purana is Garuda Purana, and so on. These are the mode of goodness Puranas. And out of all these Puranas, we have a one particular Purana which we like very much, and this Purana is our bread and butter when I was Krishna consciousness. It's called Bhagavad Purana or Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is our main. So from all this, now you see all this Vedic literature. How many books is this Upanishads? How many commentaries? Thousands, millions of different books. Via Prabhupada's genius and Lord Chaitanya's genius and Narada Muni instructed Vyasadeva to write commentary on Vedanta Sutra, and this is Srimad Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described everything we need to know about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam, as Prabhupada says, cream of all the Vedic literature. When you boil milk, not, Netto or Lidl's milk, normal milk from the cow. Again, I was talking to Dr. Philip yesterday, the day before yesterday, how these devotees have 32 cows. When they boil milk, this is like yellow color. Milk is yellow. This cream is like so thick. So this is the cream. Bhagavatam is the cream of all the Vedic literatures. So we should be when we read Bhagavatam, we read all these books. This is the essence of all these wonderful things. Srimad Bhagavatam. Just quickly, I will say about 10 main subjects of the Bhagavatam. This is described in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. I will just go through it. And so, number one is creation of the universe. Describe how the universe is created from the ether, from the sound, from the ether, and so on and so forth. Number two, the consequent creation of worlds and beings. How the planets are created, the beings are created, because we have this evolution, Big Bang, and somehow atoms are becoming fish, and fish start walking somehow or other, and whatever the story is. But that's actually, it is not so. These are the different demigods, Prajapatis. They're created, and they take, by mystic powers, they take different forms. They take the form of a deer, and they just procreate as deer. So this is the very mystical, actually, how the whole thing is created. Number three, the maintenance of all living beings. How Krishna actually maintained everything. How is Krishna maintaining everything? Krishna is called Jana Nivas. Nivas means giving shelter or maintaining all living entities. And that means that Krishna gives us air to breathe. Krishna gives us sun. Without sun, what will we do? Without air, we cannot live. So Krishna is maintaining us by giving us water, sun, forest, food, whatever we eat. This is all maintaining by Krishna. Then sustenance, how everything actually whole material universe, how is sustaining itself. Number five, rules of the various manus. Describe the manu, the mankind, the fathers of mankind. Again, everything what is there's authority. We cannot think that, I don't care for anybody, I can do myself. No, There is authority everywhere, everywhere. So sorry, Kali Yuga people, there's authority for everything and everywhere. Manu is the father of mankind. Then the rules of various Manus, this is also described. The dynasties of the great kings, different, so many kings in 9th canto particularly. Number 7, the activities of such kings, so many different kings. Number 8, annihilation. It is described how everything is annihilated. Creation and annihilation. You have partial annihilation, you have full annihilation, and so on and so forth. Described particularly 12th canto. Number 9 is motivation. I didn't really look much. And number 10, the supreme shelter, Krishna. So these are the main subjects of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Jiva Goswami explains that as much as in Vedas, we think like, okay, now I want, where is the number 1? The creation of the universe. No, he said, Jiva Goswami said, everything is everywhere intertwined. This is what I like, Everything is intertwined. So we have to read all 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam to find out the creation. We find out one bit here, one bit there, one big group there, and so on and so forth. So anyways, the time is already running, but maybe you can put the camera on the end just to show the audience here about this Vedas. Just a few seconds. All different kinds of. So this is all the Vedic knowledge that we have in our hands, basically. So we are actually part of something very, very big. All right. Hare Krishna. So that's that. I know there's so many things too, but I don't know if we don't have time to question. So maybe one. It's not too complicated. Just please understand that I'm not a Sanskrit scholar. I'm not a scholar of the Vedas. This is actually everything from the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And I looked at different quotations from Jiva Goswami and so on and so forth. But just to have an idea, this is just to have an idea who we are, actually, that we have such a tradition behind us. Yes, Prabhu.
Why does Srimad Bhagavatam have the history of the kings in such detail? The son of this is this, some chapters.
I asked these questions many times, and I never got satisfactory answer. I don't know. I heard this answer and that answer, but I never got satisfactory answer. I'm happy with the answer. Some things we just have to accept. Also, one reason is that Krishna comes in this line. So it's important where Krishna comes from. What I see when I read this, this king has 10 children, Nanda, Upanda, Ramananda, Kemanda, everything's like this. Sakti, Asakti, Nisakti, the 3 daughters, whatever, What I see from there is that how important actually is to preserve the family lineage. We come in the Kali Yuga from completely destroyed family lineages. We don't know, but it's from now on, the ISKCON devotees, we should understand that we actually continuing the family lineage of devotees. It's important to keep the purity in the family. And imagine if you have 5 generations of Brahmanas in ISKCON. I mean, this is the child who is born is going to be a powerful child. This is what I see from that. But otherwise, this is, I don't know. You have to maybe meditate and ask Vyasadeva in your meditation. Maybe he will give you the answer. Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
Only for remembering, many years ago, Sacinanda saw me suggested to put every devotee now about this.
I'm sorry? About the chart. So you are giving comment or you are?
No, only for remembering.
I don't understand at all what you want to say. This chart.
No, chart.
Astrology chart.
Astrology chart, yeah.
This is his opinion. If you see, the point is, I just to mention, if you quote somebody and you expect this person to be an absolute authority, that person may not be absolute authority. So therefore, I always prefer the devotees don't quote devotees who is not Prabhupada. If you said Prabhupada said, I would accept it. But if the person who is not Prabhupada said something, I may accept it, I may not accept it. Understand? I don't agree with this personally. So that's why it's important. Even when we quote our guru, we should be very careful not to say, "Oh, my guru man said we should be." And I said, "Okay, that's nice for you. You accept him as an authority, but I don't accept him. Not in a negative way, but I accept somebody else's authority, and this person has a different opinion." So if somebody Maharaj said we should know the charts, I don't think this is important personally, because Prabhupada says it's not important. It is so. And then you put yourself and and Maharaj in this kind of uncomfortable position. So that's why I always avoid to quote such and such Maharaj said, or my guru said this and that. You keep it for yourself as your own realization. But in Srimad Bhagavatam class or in public, we quote Prabhupada. Prabhupada is our device, our pramana. Our pramana is Prabhupada as a main pramana. We can, like the Upavedas, we can add. So maybe this Swami also confirmed it or something like this. But if you make a statement like this, you may expect that somebody doesn't agree, and then you kind of put yourself in a difficult situation. So I personally don't agree in this. So, but I don't want to speak about this. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.